expecting 5 key changes to occur over the next 5 to 10 years. The first one is we're expecting technology, digital and innovation to have quite a big impact. We're expecting politics and regulation. We're expecting economic transition, demographics, and lastly, environmental change. We're expecting some of these to be headwinds and some of these to be tailwinds. Specifically, technology and politics and regulations, we're expecting to be headwinds in that they're going to reduce the amount of profit that the banking industry can make. We're expecting, however, demographics and economic transition to be weak tailwinds for the economy and for banking. Environmental, we're not expecting that to have a lot of change in the next 5 to 10 years. Beyond that, however, it'll have quite a big impact on primary producers. What does that mean overall? What that means is that we think that banking growth in Australia will slow from 8% profit growth to around about 2 to 3%. So in the short term, we think banks are going to have to deal with a number of challenges. First of all, they're going to have to deal with the impact of regulation and how they resolve the Royal Commission. They're going to have to deal with the requirement to constrain some of their lending and what that means for their public relations, and they're going to have to work out how they rebuild consumer trust. In the medium to longer term, we think that there are a number of challenges around how do they find new sources of growth. So we're expecting a couple of things to happen. We think that the winning bank may change. We don't think it'll be CBA. We think it may be Westpac or NAB, potentially. We think that we might see the breakup of someone like AMP over the longer term. We think that we're going to see open banking become table stakes for most of the banks. And we think that potentially, we may see the banks move back into international assets and perhaps international expansion. The reality is we don't see a clear story for growth in the way that it's traditionally been found in the Australian financial services. We think there are pockets for growth, and we think that there are a few of these, potentially SME banking, potentially mid-market banking, maybe even wealth. But we think what's changed here is that the dynamic and the interplay around the competitors and what's going to happen is new. We think if you do want to win as a bank, you're going to need to understand what's happening in each of these subsectors. What is the competition like? Who's leaving? Who's entering the sector? Is this another bank? Is this a new competitor? And understand what that complex interplay looks like so you can have a position on how much you should invest in that sector to find growth.